Are you thinking about making a podcast? Spotify has a platform that lets you make one, and if I can figure it out, you definitely can too. You can create your own content all in one place for free with zero hangups and even earn money as soon as you get started. Spotify lets you record and edit episodes from your phone or computer so you can go mobile, just like I enjoy to do. My favorite thing about it is that you can create video episodes if you wish and upload them to wherever podcasts are heard. You can even set up subscriptions, or if you're like me, listener support options for listeners to help you grow. I 10 out of 10 recommend the Spotify for Podcasters app. Or, why don't you just step over to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your own podcast. Thank you so much for the support, the conversations that I've had with people that reach out to me, and the absolutely overwhelming amount of people sharing the message that we have here to talk through trauma. If you like what we do here at Off the Deep End, please feel free to subscribe and gain special access to subscriber-only episodes, or you can continue to do what all of you great people have been doing, just sharing the episode right after you finish it with the world, so we can share these conversations, not just with people that we know, but even people that I might not know. I love when people reach out to me and we get to have in real time conversations about the things they're going through. I get phone calls, emails, text messages, and a lot of just personal private messages from people who are going through things. And I'm able to share some of the perspective that I learned from others. And slowly we can work towards the end goal of stopping at least one person a day from ending their own life, thinking that they can't talk to other people about their problems. Talking through trauma is the goal here at our program here. And I really do appreciate everybody's endless support and all the different conversations we've had so far. So if you like what we're doing here and you'd love to support us, please do subscribe. Awesome, man. So welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. So there's a lot of people who like you. You're pretty popular. I think you're one of the most popular people I've ever met in my life because of no, honestly, because of your attitude towards American culture and how you deal with it. I'm not gonna just completely be normal just like everybody else. I want to take my own path, and that random spark of light in this dark world that we call society really inspired a lot of people, me included. So I knew the only person I could have on for the first episode of this series is you. Why don't you start telling me a little bit about your upbringing?
Shit, man, where do I start? You want to start like from birth?
From birth, dude.
Birth.
8 pounds, 10 ounces.
All right. Well, I mean, damn, my parents. Well, I'm 100% Armenian.
Okay.
My parents lived in Azerbaijan before I was even born. That's like they got married and met over there, and then a war broke out with Armenians and Azeris. It was a Christian Muslim type shit.
Ooh. So which side was which?
So Armenians are Christians. Azeris are like Turkish people. They're Muslims. There was like a conflict that broke out over like a region that is kind of in dispute even right now. There was a war like last year. Like the war kind of reignited, I guess, last year even.
I was reading that today.
Yeah. And but the first one was in it was like the late 80s, early 90s or some shit like that. So my parents had to flee from there. They moved to the Ukraine. That's where I was born. It's a town called Chernigiv. It's like 20 minutes from Chernobyl, like I was telling you earlier.
Like 20 minutes from
It's like
Chernobyl.
a suburb,
Wow.
kind of like, for example, Linwood in Seattle. If Seattle's Chernobyl, we were like in Everett, like Tacoma. We're like, not Tacoma, like Bellevue.
Yeah,
the nicer part. Not Tacoma.
Okay, so you were in the nicer area.
It was a nice, yeah.
So
let's say
I know
Bellevue.
because I know Chernobyl. To this day, it's pretty.
Well, yeah. It's still like it's like one of the biggest ghost towns, like you know what I mean, in Europe. But even right now, it's like no, they don't really let people. It's not advised to like over there. You know what I mean? It's still like fucked. But yeah. I mean, at the time, I mean, my parents lived there because my dad, him and his friend, they had like a sewing company or some shit. They were just making clothes, and like he had like a factory there. So he was just that's what out of all the fucking places they chose there. But yeah, I was born in '94. I lived there with my brother was born there too in '96. Yeah, '96.
I like your brother.
Levon.
Sometimes it depends on the day,
man. But yeah, man. I mean, shit. I mean, all that shit in Chernobyl, like that shit's actually true, bro. Like it was so fucked. Like the type of shit my dad was telling me.
Tell me about it.
They were you would drive through like the countryside, and there would just be like dead cows and like dead pigs just like chilling on the side of the roads and like in the farms and like the fields and shit. Like, I don't know, it was wild. Like, there's like literally like just dead farm animals everywhere, and then like I don't know, all those toxins and shit, like, you know what I mean? Obviously, people are breathing these in. There's like all this bullshit going on, and I mean, even like my mom, you know, when she was pregnant with me, I was born with a lung defect because my mom was, you know, just exposed to all these toxins and shit, and
Wow.
yeah, you know what I mean. I like barely you know, barely survived through that. I had surgery, had like part of my lung removed. Like to this day, I have a
Damn.
fat ass scar from here all the way back there.
I'm
But
glad you're still here, man.
no, man, I know
Jesus.
this fuck. I had like asthma until I was like I don't know, like 10 years old. Maybe that's why I'm fat, bro. I can't exercise. I run a
I
little
think
bit. I'm
I
just like,
think you're an alpha athlete. So
I don't
you're
know about all
athlete of
that,
life,
but
man. So you're in so in Chernobyl, they put out a series trying to cover some of the instances that happened, and I know that um, the USSR was involved in the
yeah, yeah.
situation and all that. Um, was there any major effect on that on your other members of your family, like
Uh,
your
I
brother?
mean, not really, because the thing is, no one in my family was really born there. We only lived there for like a few years.
Okay,
Luckily, my brother came out like super healthy, but it was always like half and half. Like there were some people that were born fine, some people that just got shit luck, I guess. And all of my family only lived there for like a couple of years. They lived their whole lives like in Azerbaijan and in Armenia
yeah,
before they moved out there. So, you know, and then I mean, the thing is, where we were living, it was still under like Soviet Union like regulations. It was still kind of like an okay place to live. They weren't saying like, oh, Chernihiv is like a place you should stay away from. So like
okay.
people just weren't advised. I mean, I'm sure if my parents knew that there's a potential of this shit happening, they probably wouldn't have like went over there.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I
not
mean?
everybody is a nuclear
Yeah,
physicist.
but also at the same time, you have to understand like they're fucking refugees. You know what I mean? They kind of went where my dad knew there would be like good work. You know what I mean? Because he
Mhm.
knew that like his friend had like a company there. He was gonna work for him, and like at
You
the
had to
time
work to survive.
when you're running away from like a war torn nation with like literally nothing in your fucking pockets and you know a wife and shit, is like come on. You know what I mean? You're gonna go where the fucking money is. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what happened. We were out there, and then we moved out here when I was like 3.5 4 years old, something like that.
Okay.
And then we lived in Shoreline until you know my parents bought this house out here. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I can go into
and then
more
it
detail,
began.
but I mean that's pretty much the rundown of it.
Okay. Well,
I
I just have a few questions about you talking about the USSR. So the Soviet Union, um, what is the difference you understood at? I'm pretty sure this is like an easy understanding by what your parents explained to you as a free society versus a society governed by the government and everything.
yeah,
Usually, at the people at the top of the government,
yeah.
usually are the big breadwinners, and everybody at the bottom of the government suffers.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do you want to know like how life was like with a more controlling government
Yes,
versus?
just
Well,
yeah,
dude, there's
just from
so
your
many different
perspective.
things. Like for example, little things that you think of. Like for example, my dad told me literally jeans, bro. Like little things that you think are just so easy, you can go to the store and buy. You had to go to the black market and buy because the government imposes so many regulations and so many taxes that it's not worth it for companies and stores to even import certain things.
So the government
They
crushes
literally
the
they
economy.
control literally everything. Like my dad literally told me. Like that's why every time I hear people talk I mean, yes, capitalism has flaws, but every time I hear like
However,
people
comma, it's at least
yeah,
you have a
however, like
chance.
the thing is, even my uncles who just moved here in like 2015 keep telling me how like in America, they see their money a lot more than they do in like Europe.
Mhm.
In Europe, like you're taxed so heavily, and especially in the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was even worse than how Europe is now. Because over there, literally anything you do, to get a car, bro, there was like a 5 year waiting list. No, not anyone could just go and buy a car. You can't just go to a car. There were no car dealerships. You had to first of all get a special license from the government. You had to have a license to own a fucking television, bro. To own a
What?
television, you had to get yeah, own a license. To get a car, there's like a 5 year waiting list, 5 to 10 year waiting list, and it's not even guaranteed. It's to apply.
Do they
So
pump propaganda over that TV that
oh, everything, yeah, everything's propaganda. And my dad told me he would go hiking sometimes in like rural ass mountains with his with my uncle and like his I forgot it was like his uncle or some shit like that. And he would bring a radio, and when he was high up in the mountains, he could hear like European radio stations and listen to like American music. Only there would he listen to like American shit. Like he would could get like a weak ass signal and listen to like some bullshit station in like Poland or something like that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And yeah, he told me, like, that was the only time he ever actually heard, like, American music when he was, like, hiking hella, and he brought, like, a fucking radio with him, like, a fat antenna to catch stations from, like, other countries in Europe.
damn, man.
Yeah, and then,
I
like
always tell people to try to get in perspective. I obviously I complain about small things. I make a lot of jokes,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
honestly, I'm so thankful to be here, man.
Oh, of course, bro, of
Like
course.
where would I be without every single person who's died just to stop for random things, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that doesn't mean shit,
Yeah.
because every time I hear somebody say, "Bro, you got running water in this country," that really puts it in perspective. Like, and that made my heart
Yeah.
hurt. Like my heart bled for people
Yeah.
knowing, because I was serving in the military with people who grew up
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't have running water. Bro, they showered
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
rivers.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people from Chile,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Bolivia,
Yeah.
different countries that had nothing,
Well,
nothing.
you know, in the Soviet Union back then, what they also did is, yeah, everything was like free and shit, but you couldn't drink the tap water. Even electricity, you didn't have it all throughout the day. There'd be certain hours where they would turn it on randomly for like a couple hours, and then they would turn it off for most of the day.
You
And
know
my
what?
mom
That
told me,
happens in California right now.
well,
What
it happens
the
with water because they
fuck?
want to conserve water, but for your electricity, my
Hmm.
mom told me like when she was living over there, there'd be like most of the day they'd be doing their homework under like candlelight and shit, and then sometimes randomly the power would turn on, and all the neighbors would run and like try to do their shit like within the hour or two that the power would stay on, and then it would just randomly shut off. Like laundry, shit. Like I mean, everything was like kind of hand washed, but like there's some things that like people could do electronically. Like people had dryers and shit. You know what I mean? And like the moment the electricity turned on, everyone just dropped what they were doing to try to do what they could that required electricity before they shut it off real quick for like the day.
Jesus
Yeah, and
Christ.
sometimes it'd be on for like an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes it's on for 30 minutes. You don't even know.
That is
Yeah.
like horribly, like I'm not saying it's genocide,
No,
but that's
yeah, yeah.
enough abuse to destroy
Well, the thing
people.
is,
That would call a revolution
yeah, yeah.
in
Well, I mean, it did. Yeah,
America,
the
because
Soviet Union.
we got guns and shit. That no, that
Well, I
would
mean, the thing is, America is like the richest country in the world, bro. That's for that to happen here, that's like unheard of. But even over there, that was like back in the day. Right now, obviously, people in Russia have fucking electricity, but
Mhm.
you know what I mean. That's just some of the shit they had to deal with, man. And
Was it
yeah,
because of the dictatorship, or was it like
well, no, no,
a
because
crew of people?
no, no, it's because the government picked and choose. Well, even though everything was free, the government picked and choose where they wanted to like spend their money. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like they're not gonna. Sometimes if there was like I don't know, sometimes they were going through it financially. I don't know for what, but like maybe for them they had to cut down the electricity to save money for this and that, or because the politicians were greedy. You know what I mean? It just
So
there's a mixture of a
socialism
bunch of things.
seemed like a good, because I've heard a lot of arguments that socialism is a good idea to bring to America.
Mm.
Socialism seems like a good America in like a good idea in a family unit. Socialism works in the military. Authoritarianism rules, but in a normal society, I think it
You
would
know,
cripple
you
us,
know,
just
you
like it
know.
crippled them.
The thing is, I feel like I think there are certain things that socialism kind of is right about,
Hmm.
but extreme socialism is good in context, but on paper, like it's good on paper, but in practice, it's not good. But the thing is, what I
Picture
think,
perfect, yeah.
yeah, you know why? Because for example, like there's okay, for example, one thing that I can kind of get behind it with the with the whole socialism argument is how like the healthcare thing in America. I think that like basic healthcare should be available to like everyone despite like their financial status.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean?
I think it
Basic
can be
healthcare.
achieved if
You
we
know what
do
I
the.
mean? I mean, right now, yeah, no one is dying in America. Like even like God forbid you get in a car accident, you're gonna go to the hospital. They're gonna perform on you. You'll just have to owe money. You know, no one's gonna say, "Oh, you don't have money. That's it. We're not gonna do it." You know what I mean? But I also don't think that people should be thrown into like crippling debt all because of like I don't know a hospital visit or an ambulance ride or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Absolutely, dude.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, did you want to answer that?
No,
Or you good?
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is absolutely heartbreaking, man. To hear about the things that your family had to undergo. That's like stuff we hear in movie and see movies I see on the internet that is like a horror to us in America, because we couldn't imagine us going through that.
Yeah.
The thoughts, the emotion, the actual traumatic experience and anxiety it could put on people. It's enough to make you either really rich or really mentally broke.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah,
Fuck.
that's true. Definitely.
Yeah, dude. Um, so you came to America at a young
Hmm.
age. You're like, I think you said 3-year-old or 4-year-old Yuri at the
Yeah.
time, walking around, knocking over the walls and stuff.
Pretty much. Yep.
Trying to set up parties and stuff. So what was that like for you as a child in America? Do you speak
uh,
English at the time?
I mean, when I first came here, like, I mean, I was like only 4 years old, so like I didn't really understand that I was like in such a foreign place.
Hmm.
'Cause I was still little, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
was like, "Ah, I'm just chilling, whatever." And then like everywhere that we lived, like the apartment complex we lived in, it was literally all Ethiopians. It's like nobody spoke English, you know what I
Okay.
mean? So like
Okay. So
we're
yeah.
all
So
kind of like in the same boat, you know what I mean? So we're all just kind of like chilling. I mean, you know what I mean? We're all like in the same bullshit ESL classes. Like,
hmm
I don't know. I mean, it was fun because the thing is, like, again, we were all immigrants. And back then, you know what I mean? It was like 99, like 2000. Like, we didn't have fucking, no, not even, it was like 97, 98. You know what I mean? Like, nobody had phones. This shit right here. Nobody had fucking video games. You know what I mean? You kind of had to be outside. So, oh, no, it was cool.
still outside,
Yeah,
huh?
no, it was
Still
cool.
out. Yeah. I know how that is.
No, no, I'm glad I grew up in an era like that and not, stuck to my fucking iPhone.
Hmm. So what were your favorite activities to do? Because I know I loved building forts in the woods.
Oh yeah,
I'd
yeah.
go off. I'd walk through this creek, 150th Street. Now there's apartments next to it. I walk up this creek, and now it's completely devastated. This big giant forest, and there's
Mhm.
trees knocked out that fell over every winter year. And I'm like, oh, neighbor, come on, let's go and
Yeah.
explore the trees that fell over. I can't wait to go. Can't wait to go risk it
Man.
all, right? And I thought I was such a badass
Mhm.
until I was climbing this tree and then I saw a spider and I freaked out so bad because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't do
yeah.
spiders. I fell out of the tree like 20 feet,
God damn.
landed on a branch, flipped over, hit at my back, and I thought, thank God, I was invincible as a child apparently,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I was coughing up
Nah, I
blood. I'm
mean,
like,
I
oh
never did no
God.
shit like that, man.
Okay,
I was in like an apartment complex, like
okay,
in
so
the
no
city,
no
bro.
no
Like, there's
no
no like
tree climbing.
no creeks, no tree. No, no.
Okay,
But yeah, no. I mean, it was cool. It was chill. I mean, I don't know. My brother, of course, was like really little, so he didn't really understand anything. But it was fun. We didn't really get into a lot of trouble though. Good, it's a good thing. But yeah, it was cool.
yeah,
You
thank
know.
God, dude.
But yeah,
I've had some experiences.
honestly, it kind of sucked when we moved over here to Linwood when my parents finally bought a house.
Mhm.
Because like my whole life I lived like in an apartment, you know what I mean? And like I was like around a bunch of kids all the time. And then when you
Out
move to a
here
house,
on this street, especially, it's this is like a calm,
yeah, 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 it's a
peaceful,
lot,
retired people. Yeah.
especially compared to like where I was living earlier. It was all like
Mm.
young people and children. Every apartment like unit almost had like kids. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like we're always outside like running around playing and shit. And then when we moved to this house, I was just like, what the fuck? It's so goddamn boring. You know what I mean? There's nobody around you. There's nothing to do. Like
Oh yeah.
my neighbor was cool. There's like they had like a little what's it called? I forgot. His name was Sam, but I forgot how old he was. He was like a few years younger than me though. But I mean, still though, it's not the same. Like
Did you
they were
have
just
family in the area?
well, most of my family, I have an uncle who still lives in that apartment complex in Shoreline,
Okay.
and then I have my cousin Carlin, and I don't know if you ever met him, but he lives over here by the transit center. I mean, not like walking distance. Obviously, I still have to like drive to go see him, when I was younger. But yeah, and then I mean, I have another uncle that lives over here on 164th. You met my other cousin Sam, right?
Yes, I love
Yeah, yeah,
Sam,
yeah,
man.
Sam.
Yep, pretty boy
And then
Sam. Look out, girls.
yeah, yeah. Well, when we were, you know what I mean, we were always like friends with each other, but like we didn't see each other every day because we didn't really like live by each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like when we had like family events or family gatherings and shit.
Yeah. So
But then
are
yeah,
family gatherings huge for the Armenian culture?
I mean, it depends what, you know what I mean? Like birthdays and shit, yeah. Obviously weddings, yeah, you know what I mean? But like if there's like little things going on, it just depends on the event.
You're gonna have to invite
But
me to one of these things, man. I'll show up. I'll show up. I'll help.
yeah,
I can pretend to be your
yeah.
bodyguard or something. I don't know.
But yeah, I have a lot of family still back in like Russia and Armenia. Well, I did at the time. A lot of them actually moved over here recently too. So
That's good.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
they enjoy it? From your
Oh
experience?
yeah, 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 of course, man. Like the thing is, they all moved over here, and then like they literally tell themselves like, "Yo, I don't know how the fuck I lived there for like, you know what I mean, for the amount of years I did." So I don't know.
When your family members are have explained this to you as well, obviously. So when you're over there, do you have a government that controls everything? And I don't like government control
Yeah,
because the more the government says they're here to help or control you,
the
and
less
they're for
free
your
you are.
safety, the less
Yeah,
free you are.
yeah.
Do you think that it's physically possible throughout a solid society that we can move in a way that will keep the government separate from the Americans?
Well, I think honestly, I don't think so, and I think it'd be a bad idea to have it completely separate. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Government has to play some sort of role.
Some sort of
You
role.
know what I mean? But I feel like once the government steps into like the liberty of people and like their free choice and like their free will, I think that's where the government kind of crosses the boundary. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like crosses the line. I don't think the government should tell you what you shouldn't put in your body. You know what I mean? To a certain
Or do
extent,
with your
or
body.
do with your body to a
Yeah,
certain
brother.
extent. You know what I mean? I also don't think that the government should.
Like drink water, motherfuckers. That's one
Yeah,
thing I could
yeah.
do.
You know what I
We
mean?
could all deal with some water,
Yeah,
man.
right. Or like, I don't think the government should impose like too burdensome of taxes. I mean, obviously, taxes they have to have taxes because how are they going to pay for public utilities?
Hmm.
Police officers, firemen. Like, obviously, shit like that needs to be funded. But I don't think that what I mean. They need to impose as burdensome as taxes as they kind of do sometimes.
Yeah,
At least you know what I mean to certain tax brackets.
yeah.
And then oh god, I had something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, I also think that politicians need to be kind of more regulated. I feel like they're not as regulated as they are in the US. I feel like they get away with a lot of bullshit.
I agree.
Like for
I actually
example,
follow a stock trading. I
yeah.
just follow the stock
Well,
trading patterns of some politicians, and
speaking of
I'm making
stocks,
bank.
honestly, I don't think politicians should be allowed to trade stocks, bro.
Hmm.
I don't think so because the thing is, they have such insider knowledge on like on everything that happens. Like right before COVID, how many politicians sold their
I
fucking
just follow Nancy Pelosi.
yeah.
I follow her shit, and
Um,
money gets made, bro. I use $10 to get started.
yeah, yeah.
Like there's like
See, I don't
200
know
bucks
shit
in
about
there right now.
stocks. I know about like
Okay,
the politics behind it, but I don't know shit about actual
I'll
stocks.
tell you what. All you need to do is follow like there's websites out there that help you follow politicians and
Bro,
stuff, and it's so jacked up.
I have such bad luck with stocks, bro. I've bad luck with like lottery, casinos, everything. I just don't even fuck. I've tried so many
Well, it's
times.
fucked up
I've
because
always failed.
you've had great luck being
That's just
alive after a heart
that's
surgery.
just God telling me like don't even fuck with this. Just do your own thing, man.
Man,
But yeah,
so
man.
do you think that our foreign policy concept is good with Ukraine currently? Because I know it's a big topic right now. The war on
Uh,
Ukraine. There we have comedians going in front of city councils making rap
yeah,
songs about Ukraine
I don't
and
fucking
putting
know,
bullets
dude.
in Putin's brain and
Honestly,
stuff.
honestly, man, the whole Russia Ukraine thing, like, I'm obviously I feel really bad for like the people there,
Yes.
but there's two sides to like every story too, man. Like
Hmm.
the thing is, maybe people can make the argument that like Russia used aggressive force, but at the same time, like to Russia, NATO is a threat. You know what I mean? And when you really think about it, America did the same shit as Russia did to Ukraine to Cuba and during the Cuban Missile Crisis. When they saw that communism was coming to its front door, what did? They automatically fucking
Yeah,
stop that shit from happening.
blockade,
Exactly. You know the whole embargo.
projection of power. The United States Navy
Yeah,
is
exactly.
really involved
And
in
the
that.
thing is, like, to Russia, I mean, obviously they know NATO and Ukraine are never going to physically invade Russia. That's just stupid because, both sides aren't that dumb. But
And we don't have enough
Russia's,
bodies either. Who would
yeah,
want
but
to? Can we hold Russia? That's a lot of
nah,
fucking.
but the
That's a
thing
lot
is,
of snow, bro.
I mean, the thing is, like, Russia would kind of get its ass beat if it went up against NATO. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
it'd still not be a good outcome, anyways, though. You know what I mean? Like, but I also think that, like, if Ukraine was to join NATO and all that shit, Russia's economy is what would get kind of fucked. Not because of like it worrying about physically being attacked, its economy would just kind of plummet because there's so many like oil reserves. A big reason why Russia even annexed Crimea, there's a shit ton of oil reserves in the Black Sea that Russia wants to kind of tap into because right now they're the largest natural gas exporter in the world. Russia,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? They're
Crimea.
not Crimea. Russia is.
Oh,
Russia
Russia is
exports
okay.
all of Europe gets their fucking natural gas from fucking Russia. Europe is the
Wow.
largest natural gas exporter in the world right now. Their economy literally solely lives off that shit. I mean, they have a lot of other things going for them too, but that's a fat chunk of their
So a
GDP.
conflict with Russia.
So
Do you think
no,
that
no,
the
no.
reason we're not involved in the Russian Ukraine situation is because of that?
Well, first of all,
A lot of our allies is the U.S.
a lot of NATO allies are not even for like going against Russia. Like even
Yeah.
France, Germany, even Germany is kind of like shitting on Spain. I forgot. I was reading something that Spain was like doing some sort of shit against Russia, and even Germany, another NATO ally, was saying like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like even NATO allies between themselves are kind of like beefing with each other because some of them fuck with Russia. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And a big thing too about the oil reserves in the Black Sea that I was talking about. Ukraine is like kind of a really poor country in Eastern Europe. It's not like a very I mean, it's not like a very dirt poor country, but it's also not a very rich country. It doesn't have the resources to tap into any of these reserves, and it hasn't. There's a reason it hasn't. And if it does join NATO, and once it starts tapping into these resources, it's going to become a fat competitor for Russia. And Russia doesn't want that because then again, their economy is going to fucking sink.
Mhm.
So that's the bigger reason why it's a threat to them, not physically, but more economically, and
I
you know
see,
what I mean.
man.
So,
Well, that's
oh
super
no,
tough, man. Because I've watched. So I'm not as well educated as you are as far as the Russian Ukraine situation, but I do know people who have gone to Ukraine to help refugees. And there's non-government organizations like Save Our Allies with Tim Kennedy, one of my big heroes. If you haven't read his or listened to his book on Audible, if you're gonna download Audible and listen to one book, Scars and Stripes,
yeah,
it crushed my soul to hear about what it was like to save these kids from Afghanistan. He saved 11% of the people that left Afghanistan were saved by the organization
mm,
that's not ran by our government because our State Department sucks at pulling out of things. Like
yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
secret.
yeah,
Like the State
yeah,
Department sucks.
yeah,
They stuck even worse than that. It was not a military operation either to pull
yeah.
our people out, which the pullout game was weak as fuck. Like there would be like 100 babies in Afghanistan right now if that was talking about the U.S. pullout plan.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not on the troops, but see there and they have a I watched a documentary too, and me and my wife were just crying. We're shedding a bunch of tears watching these mothers so desperate throw babies
Yeah,
over the Constantine wire, and it shredded, and and a lot of them bled out trying to
yeah,
get these babies to these Marines in their hands so they could get
yeah,
on a
yeah, yeah,
plane, just so the baby
yeah,
might have
yeah,
a
yeah,
chance.
yeah, yeah,
They were moving them like beach balls across these miles
yeah,
of
yeah.
people, like, and that's when I think about what poverty really looks like. I think about impoverished nations who are so afraid of organization control by force. So
Mhm,
control by force like communism or in a lot of cases socialism and in some cases as well capitalism, but
mhm.
not as much. And seeing that happen is devastating to me. And so watching Send Me on the internet was tough. Listening to his book
Yeah.
as he talks
Mm,
about it is tough. But like it hurts my heart to hear that people like your parents, I could sit there and listen to them I don't care how well they speak English. And
Yeah.
I could feel the pain in their hearts when they
Well,
express
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Damn.
yeah, man. When I hear about a lot of the shit my dad was telling me, man, like literally, we think like little things that we buy, everyday things, so simple. Over there, no, you got to
A
go through.
whiteboard and a marker sitting here to remember what I'm trying to
And
say.
over there, bribery is a big thing too, man. Like police officers, they'll pull you over for like stupid ass little things. Like, you know what I mean? Even like government officials, like to get a license, people sometimes just bribe the fucking people at the DOLs there, and didn't even have to take a test or nothing, just got licenses. Anything you can think of, which you could buy with money, and literally little things like my dad even told me jeans, bro. You couldn't buy jeans there because they were banned in the Soviet Union because it resembled like an American like fashion trend, and they didn't want people to become more American and shit. So if you
Jesus.
had jeans, you had to wear them on the low. You couldn't even like wear them in like if a cop saw you with jeans on, you like you should like run away. Like
So
not
what do the cops do when they catch you
oh they beat
overseas?
the shit out of you, bro.
They
Like my
don't.
dad,
So they don't arrest you.
some they do whatever the fuck they feel like
So
doing to you.
police brutality
If you
is.
don't have any money, police oh bro, America is like a fucking like a
So
heaven in
Rodney will
terms
be
of
Rodney is sitting there rolling.
oh that's normal treatment, bro.
It's
That happens.
normal
That's
treatment.
normal treatment.
So it's not
Over there,
walking
it's
while black.
way
It's
worse,
walking
bro.
while
Oh
anything.
hell no! Over there,
Walking
it's
while
even
in
worse.
jeans.
Over there, bro, they'll literally, if especially if they know you have money. My dad literally sometimes would, like he'd get pulled over, and he would lie and say he doesn't have any money on him, even though he does, because they know that they'll just ask him for money. You know what I mean? Like they'll literally just beat the shit out of you, do whatever the fuck they want with you. Like it's no
That's
one, it's
tough,
not
man.
regulated there at all. There's no like what you can and can't do for police officers out there, bro. They just get away with everything.
Damn.
Well, at least back then it was. You know, now obviously there's it's a little
Now,
bit better.
yeah.
I would hope. You know
Now
what I mean?
now they're at
I would
war,
hope.
right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen is an old lady. And I know this all. I know every picture field from a war zone is usually propaganda for one side or another, but there is some underlying truth behind it. And seeing old ladies wielding AK-47s in videos, like I get videos. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not gonna describe how I get a hold of my content, but I get I'm able to watch some war zones
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
with the videos of leaking stuff,
Mhm.
and it's amazing to see everyone coming together for a single cause, even if it's a horrible one like war. And
Yeah.
violence changes people. I'll never be the same with the experience I've had in my life, and I don't want my kids to experience this shit either.
Yeah.
But was violence socially acceptable in where you're at? Like,
Oh,
is fighting
bro.
way different
Oh
over there
yeah,
than
bro.
over
Of
here?
course. Like over there, like I mean, what do you mean, like in terms of
So
how?
if I was at an event with nothing but Armenians, okay, this might sound really
Oh,
uncultured, so I'm going to
yeah,
try really
yeah.
hard.
No, just give me an example. Like
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like,
if I'm rolling into an Armenian neighborhood,
yeah.
solely Armenian neighborhood, and I see two people fighting, is anyone going to call the cops?
Oh fuck no, bro.
Or they're going to let
First of all,
people
the
handle
cops
shit?
wouldn't even show up to that. The cops
Okay,
wouldn't even like. That's like a waste of time for the police to even show up to. Like,
what do the police show up to?
bro, it was so corrupt over there. I don't even think there was like a police you can call. You'd have to just like deal with it on
So
your
the
own.
police directly deal with the state, right? So there's pretty much tools of
Police kind of
weaponry.
walk. Police. Here's what police do. They walk around. At least back then, I don't know now, but like they literally just walk around the downtown areas, the main parts of every town, and just make sure nothing's going on around you. There were no phones back there, bro. You
Just
can just call
collecting
911.
paychecks.
Yeah, they were pretty much just making sure everything was peaceful, like in the central part of the town. If somebody came and like beat the shit out of like his neighbor or killed his neighbor or some shit, you can't call the police and say, "Hey, this guy did." You just have to kind of deal with it on your own. If you capture him yourself and then take him to the police station, yeah, okay, maybe they'll arrest him and then do something with that.
Maybe,
I mean, they probably will at that point. You know what I mean? But
maybe, but
you know what I mean?
you gotta detain this
But
guy
like, if you
still.
go out, it's like first of all, you can't pick up a phone and call 911. There wasn't like anything like that. You would have to like, you know what I mean? There was no fucking electricity, first of all, sometimes. What the fuck are you gonna
Yeah,
do? You know what I mean? And like, for example, if you were like on the outskirts of the
you just
city,
start
there was
yell,
nothing.
make it like a telephone line,
But
start
the thing
yelling,
is,
help.
but you know, back then though, there was a lot more like community. Like for example, like the murder rates over there were not nearly as high as here.
Yeah,
Over there, like if there was like a murder like in a town or whatever, that was like big news. You know what I mean? Like there were no mass
that's what it was like when I
shootings,
was
no
growing up
nothing.
here when I was a kid. Now, dude, I've seen no bullshit, at least 8 people die in front of me when I'm working on an escalator or some
Yeah,
shit down in Seattle,
yeah,
and I'm behind bars protected. I look over and I'm watching people get stabbed to death, and like, what am I gonna do?
yeah,
Like shoot him with the not that I carry
yeah,
a gun at work or anything. Am I gonna shoot through the bars
yeah, yeah,
pin
yeah,
this dude with
yeah.
my red dot sight on my
Yeah,
gun?
yeah, yeah.
Oh well, officer, what had happened was I saw him stabbing this dude, so I shot him from across the street. Like, what the fuck?
You know, you could technically do that
Yes,
if you
but I'd
stopping the
also be
felony from
fired
happening.
really bad.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be saving someone's life though. I
Oh,
don't know.
I know. Well, it's important for
Well,
me.
actually, you're probably not allowed to have a gun on you though at work, so that's why.
Yeah.
That's yeah. They'll be like, "What the fuck are
Yeah.
you
Well, you know
doing?"
what? there is other companies to work for, but I don't want to work for other companies.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
my
yeah,
company I'm
yeah.
at right now. They treat me great. They understand why I'm injured and they're working with me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's good. Then
it's
that's
really
good.
tough to watch that shit happen and do
Yeah,
nothing. I don't understand how police officers in this day and age I've stepped in when Seattle police officers have done nothing while an
yeah,
elderly
yeah,
woman was getting the shit beat out of her.
yeah,
And he's like, "Oh, my hands are tied, bro." And I said, "You're a fucking coward. Turn in your badge, pussy." And I
yeah.
went and
Well, you know, also at the
grabbed
same
her.
time, I also feel like kind of this might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel kind of bad for some of the police officers, man. Like
Hey, I feel bad for some of
sometimes,
them
like
too. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like a
100%.
lot of them, trust me, a lot of them want to do something,
But
but they're
you can't.
scrutinized for it by the public. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So I
Well, to
mean,
the
don't get
point
me
of no
wrong.
return, even if they had nothing to do with it. Like
Yeah,
I remember this shit happened in Minneapolis.
yeah,
Do you know where Minneapolis is? It's over 2,000, literally over 2,000 miles. Some of these motherfuckers who are out there protesting had never walked a full mile in their entire life.
yeah.
Like walk a mile
Well,
around the
also,
track.
bro, when all those
2,000 miles.
you also have to understand, man. Like during those protests, it was during COVID. Nobody was fucking working. Everyone was getting unemployment. If
Yeah.
all those motherfuckers had to be at work the next day, I guarantee you, nobody would be protesting, bro. It's just nobody had shit to do.
Well, look at
Everyone,
it now. Look at it
yeah, you
now.
know
You
what
know,
I mean. Like everyone was getting unemployment. Everyone
yeah.
wasn't doing shit. So it's like
Motherfuckers can go over
people
to
had free time. You know what I mean?
yes. One of my favorite things to do is as a responsible sober, moral, prudent,
Hmm.
posturous member of the concealed carry society where you carry a gun on yourself.
Yeah,
You want to know when not to shoot, right? Probably more important than when to shoot, in my opinion. You need to know what not to do
yeah,
because
yeah.
incrimination is not a good thing.
That's true. Yeah,
So I watch YouTube. Sometimes during dinner, me and the family, we sit down and we watch these body cam footage,
yeah.
and we say I pause it right when after the shooting happens, say good shoot, bad shoot, and you know what?
Hmm.
And they say and then they say now they've got better where they say, and I say sometimes, all right, let's keep watching and make sure he does,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
emergency life
yeah, yeah, yeah,
saving, procedures here.
yeah, yeah,
But holy shit, good shoots and bad shoots is horrible, dude. You're making split second decisions. I watched cops
yeah,
in a gunfight drop in Indiana drop his magazine out of his gun.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Racked the gun. I don't know why he cleared and saved. He was having like a mental breakdown.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he basically emptied his firearm and then reloaded it and then forgot to rack it when he tried to shoot again. And he's
Hmm.
getting bullets are whizzing past the body cam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this guy got hit like 4 times with bullets too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure, there's like a lot of like corrupt cops out there. There's a lot of
Mhm.
them that do, that kind of could have done a better job. But
Yeah.
at the same time, bro, like put yourself in that position, man. There's a guy literally
You
coming
never
at you.
show up to a good thing,
Yeah,
dude.
there's like a guy charging at you with like a weapon, bro, and
Hmm.
you have 2 seconds to make a decision. I'm sorry, I'm shooting the shit out of that motherfucker, bro. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna look at am I should shoot him in the leg. No, no, no.
Mm-mm.
What the fuck? Like, and then people have the audacity to be like, when you're shooting to kill, this is where you shoot. When you're shooting, it's like, bro, when you're in that mindset, you're not thinking about, oh, am I shooting him in the this way, that way to make sure it's like, comfortable. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Exactly,
I don't know,
bro.
bro. It's like
Well, I've gone through military training, right, which was not
yeah,
great, and then I've gone through more military training, which was awesome
hmm,
because the basic military training shit. You put a basic person in the Navy right now,
hmm.
and you ask them to come out and go shooting with you. 9 times out of 10, that person is like the most dangerous person to shoot around because they suck and they don't have it. They like you shoot once, bro. You shoot
Hmm.
once with an air pistol, and then you shoot to qualify, and that's
Yeah.
it. You don't even shoot to
Damn. What the
requalify.
fuck?
You don't even shoot to requalify.
Wait, so
This is the
that was your train?
United States
Wait, that was your
military.
training?
Well, thankfully, I took on other duties, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
made sure to
yeah.
get more
Okay,
more
okay.
shooting.
But like the most basic one, you just shoot with the airsoft gun?
Bro, it's an air pistol, and it shoots with a CO2 can.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
an airsoft gun with a
Oh, so
CO2.
it still feels like a real
It
gun
still feels
though.
kind of like
Okay. You guys aren't shooting like man or market plastic airsoft guns, are you?
pretty much, but you just put a CO2 package in
Yeah,
there
yeah,
instead.
yeah.
And I love Man Market, but I still go there every time I go by there. I'm like,
Where do you
oh,
think I got these
I
beers from,
think
bro?
about you, bro. Every time I go there, I'm like, Yuriy has been here. But it's detrimental. The United States military. If no, I don't give a fuck what your job is. If you can't operate a firearm, your basic shit, the Marines got it right.
Yeah.
Every Marine's a rifleman first.
Yeah.
Every single one of them can take an M16 or M4, depending on
Yeah.
what they do occupationally with it, or a 240
Yeah.
even, or a 50 cal. Anyone can grab any gun, and you might be able to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't say that for the man. I've seen a cop pull out his gun. He dropped his gun. The
Jesus. See, I'm not like
the person charged him,
yeah.
kneed him in the face, and ran off. Like the cop was just laying there holding his broken ass, busted ass
Yeah.
face, and I walk over to the cop and I'm like, "Hey, bro, you might want to call in. You need help. Are you okay?" And I ended up,
Yeah,
getting a
yeah.
couple rags for my job and patching up his face. And I'm, hey, brother,
Well, I mean,
maybe the same for you.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
the
this
thing
ain't
is,
for you,
bro. The
dude.
thing
You
is, bro.
dropped your gun, and he could have grabbed it and shot
Well,
you
you
to
know what,
death.
bro? You know what, bro? Like how desperate Seattle Police Department is right now. They're probably
I'll tell you
their
what.
qualifications are probably dropped. You know what I mean? They
Hey,
probably don't
man,
give a fuck
if
who.
they do, I'll go to them. I'll go be a cop. I'd love to be a
Bro,
cop, but I'll tell you what. Right
I feel like
now,
that job's way too stressful, bro. I
not
would
an
never want to do
SPD.
that.
I'm not going to SPD.
I don't think I would ever want to do that, man. That job's just way too stressful. There's way too much like responsibility on your shoulders, way too much like risk, not a lot of reward.
It's not worth it.
You
You
know
know
what I
that? You
mean?
want to know a secret about them? There's two different things. One, there's some corruption in Seattle police about them renting their vehicles. I'm not going to talk about how they rent their vehicles, but I'll tell you offline. It's so fucked up. How their little Ponzi scheme of renting. They lease their vehicles
What the fuck?
from I'm not going to say where. Anyway, the police also have the best training in the United States. The
Okay.
best virtual training platform. They have the best one.
Okay.
And there's still bad shoots with the Seattle Police Department. Their qualifications are: do you have a clean record? Have you have you ever done any psychedelics or anything like that?
Yeah.
If those are your standards, without actually what? You know what?
Do you have a
My
clean
concern would
record
be:
and have you done
hey, have you
psychedelics?
ever been in the military before?
Yeah.
How do you respond to serious, stressful
Yeah.
situations?
Well, I mean, they
Do
probably
you
have.
beat your wife? Like these are things I'd
Yeah.
ask.
I mean, they probably have shit like that, bro. There's no
They
way.
they
You know
they,
what I mean?
they
They
got they
have
got
to.
some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like the
There's shit
basic
that we
shit.
don't know. You know
Well,
what I mean? That they
they would
probably.
DQ you if you've done. So I think the last time I checked the qualifications, if in the last 3 years, if you've done any psychedelics, if you've taken any Adderall, if you've done mushrooms, smoked like DMT, if you just smoked weed in the past year,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and in the past 5 years, have
They're
you
not allowed
done?
to smoke weed either, even though it's legal
No,
here.
bro.
No.
There's no love for them.
I mean, I guess it's still like a federal like type
Yeah,
of gut
yeah.
thing, you know.
I mean,
Oh, sorry.
if police want to get, and I say this wholly in honesty, if police want to get serious about, like, I got me and 20 of my buddies will probably sign up right now with any department in this entire world if they change their standards to be real life applicable. I don't want no green person that's going to follow orders and just do what he's told to be
Yeah.
a police officer. I want somebody who wants to give out stickers to kids and who wants to stop the person from smoking drugs next to them from doing that and provide some mental health support to someone who's suicidal who would try. Like I want you to
Bro.
really try when someone wants to kill
Eddie,
themselves.
I will say this, man. I think that's kind of like easier to say than do
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these
Yeah,
people,
it
like
is.
I'm pretty sure, bro, a lot of most police officers have good intentions with shit like that.
Yes,
It's the people themselves that don't want the help.
I
You know what
agree.
I mean? Like,
Well,
I
I've seen it
think,
happen, but I'm talking about
yeah,
just I didn't mean just the people who are on the streets of
yeah,
Seattle.
yeah,
I'm talking about something like if you want to commit suicide and I was responding to your call, I want someone to show up who is willing to try to
someone
talk
who
to
has,
you.
yeah, okay, I get what
I
you're
saw
saying,
a
yeah,
guy
yeah.
was like, I last time I saw a video,
Someone who
I was
actually cares,
disgusted.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
just like, he had first thing he did, guy had his knife to his neck. He was crying, sitting in a chair, crying with a knife to his neck, like about to cut his open his own, carotid artery.
yeah,
It's like, oh, and then he's like, drop the fucking knife, bitch.
yeah,
Drop the fucking knife. Like that. If that
yeah.
is not gonna
Especially
help.
he knows he's pulling up to a suicide
Yeah,
thing.
you're
You know
pulling
what
up
I
to a
mean?
suicidal person. You just call him a derogatory term.
Yeah,
Say, hey, how you doing? My name's Michael. My name's Yuri. How was your
yeah.
day? You know what? It's okay, man. I had some tough
Or
times
maybe don't
too.
go in there so hostile. Like, just come in there,
Yes.
like, hey man, like, what's, you know what I
Hey,
mean?
brother,
Like,
what's going on? He's
yeah,
not actually posing a threat to you. He's posing a threat to himself. And
yeah,
a conversation can change it.
yeah,
But that teach their own. Like I
yeah,
haven't always had good run-ins with the cops, but I know that my heart goes out to all of our first responders because no matter like what, when I call 911, someone's gonna show up,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that's nice to know. In this city right
yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah,
like when I call 911, somebody shows up,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I have a relationship with the police department here
yeah, yeah.
because I've made an effort to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for all of them, but the ones who show up who do know
Oh
me,
yeah, yeah,
they're gonna
yeah,
know, hey, there's no need to escalate this shit.
yeah, yeah,
Eddie's
yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
shoot me. I went to high school with him. Like
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
right? Um,
No, that's important too, you know. But
yeah,
I feel like there's just a strong lack of that in like a lot of places. You know what I mean? The
community
police.
building.
Yeah,
This isn't
yeah,
an insurgency. Could you imagine if I landed in your city
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
drove around in a Humvee and never got out and talked to people?
Yeah, yeah. Just
What
did your
type of
job.
that's what
Yeah.
like some military leaders believe that that's the way to do things, and you can't go to a country and without a relationship with the people living in the villages
Mm-hmm.
and expect them not to shoot at you because you're
Well, yeah,
just
yeah,
American.
yeah,
The Taliban is telling them you're a foreign invader and to
yeah, yeah,
join
yeah,
them, and they're also
yeah,
executing your family member for being
yeah,
gay or
yeah,
shit like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Throwing
yeah.
you off buildings. Speaking of which, what was it like the culture towards people who are gay over there? Was
Uh,
it
it
is it
was
bad over
very
there?
I mean, it was obviously like there was no gay rights, you know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
there wasn't like gay marriage was not allowed, like nothing like that. But I think like because it was so shunned and because it was so scrutinized, there wasn't like a lot of gay people. If there were, they were all like kind of keeping it like a secret. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't at all like here, like where you go, there's gay pride flags, there's people openly like expressing like like gay, like
Yeah.
no, nothing like that, bro.
Yeah,
Over
like
there,
I know personally I don't like digging my butt, but you know what? If someone does, let them be them. Like
yeah, I
it
mean, I
doesn't
don't care what
matter to
people
you.
do.
Why do you
Yeah,
even
yeah, I don't
care?
care what
Yeah.
people do. But over there, like the times are just a lot different, man. I mean, in America, it was like that too back then. You know what I
It
mean? Like,
definitely was. You
and
know,
then, you know,
Queen's song "We Will Rock You"
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
the about throwing rocks at the cops
Oh, really?
during the gay pride
Oh,
protests.
really? Damn, I didn't
And
know
I was so
that.
inspired when I heard that. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that
I'm not
either.
gonna throw rocks at the cops, but hey, you know what? If
Yeah,
he
right,
made a
right,
song about it, damn.
right, right. No,
Yeah.
yeah, over there, it was the gay, bro, the LGBTQ, right? It was non-existent, bro. There was, there
Okay.
was not a thing over there.
Yeah, being a police officer is tough. Being in any type of thing that has to do with your occupation
Hmm.
and responsibility and the public scrutiny is a key thing.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest reason that kind of deters me from ever wanting to pursue a career like that. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
just like there's so much risk, not a lot of reward, man. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You're just always like kind of like looked down by the public, like, and even if it wasn't for that, it's like you're so regulated by like I don't know, like for example, SPD, like you just can't do certain things that even though you feel like are the right things to do. You know what I mean? I don't
I've had
know.
to deal with that
You
at
know what
face
I
value,
mean?
man.
Yeah,
But I try to help where I can.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
At the end of the day, I'm an armed citizen,
yeah,
and I can make a difference. Um, that doesn't mean I'm using my pistol to make a difference. That
yeah,
means
yeah,
that's just to save my life
yeah,
or someone
yeah,
else's. If
yeah,
I really feel I need to help them,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
a lot of times you can just be like, "Hey, are you doing all right, man?" Or
mm-hmm.
stepping in and providing life saving
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
emergency services if the situation
mm-hmm.
needs it. So how do you think about the current way we deal with foreign policy? Is it different than how you grew up thinking it's okay?
Do you want to turn it on maybe or?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Oh, it's on already?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, my bad. I thought we were just talking to talk.
No, how do you feel like our how we deal with foreign policy? Do you think it's a positive thing right now?
I mean, there's some good things, some bad things. You know what I
Because you
mean? Like,
talked about earlier about us instead of investing dollars elsewhere, investing it in healthcare. I think we can provide almost free healthcare for so many people
yeah,
who don't have the funds to do it because
yeah.
of life problems.
I mean, the thing is, like, with the whole healthcare argument, like, I don't think that healthcare should be completely free. I mean, like, it would be a good thing if like basic healthcare was free, but I do think that the quality of the healthcare is going to deteriorate
Hmm.
if you, for example, don't have if you impose a free healthcare system. Because, like, for example, like in Canada, you know, like the waiting list they have for fucking knee surgeries or I don't know this and that. Sometimes they wait upwards to like a year just to get surgery on their fucking knee. And you know what's crazy? When I went to school at Western in Bellingham, you know, rich Canadians actually drove to America and paid money for healthcare and
Yeah,
drove back to Canada because they'd rather pay the money than
cover
wait
the
a year
states.
and sit in pain for a year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because if you have a torn labrum, like I have a torn labrum,
Yeah, yeah,
I still am waiting on my MRI to get figured out. I don't
yeah,
know if I'm supposed to be moving my left arm around at all right now.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
if I'm not supposed to be moving around at all, and I'm waiting on
Hmm.
surgery and not supposed to move it, I should be in a sling. I've
Yeah,
been doing deadlifts. I've been doing the bench
yeah.
press,
We'll
dude.
see.
I've been
Like,
moving dumbbells. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean. We'll
shit is
see. Like,
weird.
see, the thing is, like, the free
Even our
healthcare.
system is flawed.
Yeah, I mean, our system is flawed. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I also
Yeah.
think that saying, "Oh, we deserve free healthcare," that means that, like, you know, in Germany, for example, in France, they have free healthcare. Every year, their fucking doctors and surgeons are on strike, trying to get more money, trying to get paid more, because like teachers do here, because they get paid maybe like a third, a fourth of what doctors get paid over here
Mm.
for doing the same type of work. You know what I mean? And then also by saying healthcare should be free, okay, you're basically saying that you're entitled to someone else's service. You know what I mean? The way I look at it. So
Because we all pay taxes, and our taxes go up like a motherfucker all the time.
well, that too, you know what I mean? But I mean, even if people make the argument and say, "Oh, we can cut on military spending and cut on certain
Military
things,"
spending, cut
well, that's
military spend.
well, that's what a
How
lot of
much
people
more do you
say.
want to cut it?
Well, that's what a lot of people make the argument. That's what a lot of people who are pro healthcare say that they can get the funds from the military.
The military
You
is
know what I
not
mean?
getting paid shit. I'll tell you this right now. If I was working I was working for $2 an hour.
Yeah.
They still taxed us, bro. They still
Oh
tax
yeah,
the
no, I
people who are
believe
in the
it.
military.
But you know,
$2 an hour at one point in my life.
well, also another thing too, man. It's like the United States is such a big superpower country, and we're so safe here because of our fucking military. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
cut
because
military spending,
people
it's
are willing to. We're willing. I'll tell you this: the United States military is one of the only militaries in the middle of the fucking night on Christmas Eve. We will pop up in your shit, remove whatever needs to be removed. It's like a doctor. We can work with a scalpel. We can
yeah,
have a black ops team show up and handle shit that
yeah,
won't
yeah,
even be
yeah,
tied to us. But we can remove political opponents in different areas,
Mhm.
with and without our country, because we've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it in
yeah.
the past. We've seen political opponents destroy
No, well, I
themselves
mean,
here,
America's military is untouched compared to like other countries, man. Like,
untouched.
I mean, like our
I get that the special the SAS is good,
yeah,
and I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Israeli military not being great,
yeah.
but the American military is insane. The
Well,
Green
The
Berets.
Israeli military is only great because the American military made it great. Israel is basically like
I drove past there. I've had the prime
Israel.
minister show up on my ship and give a speech about how great.
Israel
God,
is
it's ridiculous.
literally a product of like what the U.S. created, bro. You know what I
Mm.
mean? The U.S. pretty much created what Israel is. Like Israel bought the world's support. Israel just had a shit ton of money, and America found a good ally in Israel and just supported the fuck out of Israel. Israel is there because America made
Do
Israel,
you think
bro.
that because of the religious
Well,
ties
the
to
thing
it?
is, no, because it was a strategic area in the Middle East for the U.S. to kind of be ally. They wanted Middle East ally. Nobody in the Middle East really fucks with the U.S. I mean, at least they didn't when
Well,
they were.
Saudi Arabia did
Saudi
for a
Arabia
part
does
time,
now, but I'm
but
saying
that was
like,
a drug deal with oil,
yeah, but I mean,
opium.
like the thing is, like during the time when the U.S. and Israel, when Israel became a nation, what, like in the 40s,
Mhm.
during that time, bro, and even like during the Cold War, the Middle East, nobody, they all fucking despised America. So the fact that they had an ally right in the middle of the Middle East was like a big, like, okay, we need to be like, as friendly as possible with these people. So,
Mhm.
and I mean, it just kind of trickled down to today's age too. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would be a sick and horrible liar if I said I wasn't bored by the end of the prime minister from Israel's speech. He gave her my aircraft carrier when we rolled
Yeah, yeah,
past
yeah,
them. We rolled past them, so
yeah.
we went in on the in between. We passed Egypt and Spain.
Mhm.
We decided not to go around the Horn of Africa. We decided to cut through the
Yeah.
straits right there.
Mhm.
Can't name them. I'm sorry in advance.
With
But
the
as we
Red
traveled
Sea, like
past
through the
there,
Red Sea.
no, we fuck, I look up a world map, but
No,
we
it's fine. I know what you're talking about, like Saudi Arabia, Sudan,
yes,
like Eritrea, like Djibouti. You guys what kind of went through
yes,
there?
Djibouti,
Yeah.
yes. So let me take a second to look up the world map because it's been since 2015. It's 2022. Like it's hard to fucking pin shit. So let me see if I can get a picture.
Well, if it was through like Egypt and it was probably like around the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, then had to be
Yes,
somewhere there.
I believe so. Oh, here we go. Awesome. Pull up the geology page here. Yeah, but like one of the biggest differences I noticed when I was traveling around this area is their lack of respect for women. It's absolutely,
Oh yeah,
bro. It's horrible,
dude.
man.
You know what kind of pisses me off too, bro? Like even in the Emirates, like when people go to Dubai. Even in Dubai, bro, like women and like there's so much like lack of women rights in Dubai. I don't know how all these woke ass people keep traveling to Dubai.
I wouldn't go
Why the
there.
fuck women in Dubai can't even wear two-piece bikinis like to the you know what I mean, two-piece swimming suits to the beach.
Mhm.
There's certain rules that they have to follow.
Women are truly
They're
oppressed
oppressed over there, and
in
that's
any country
it,
other than America. They're truly oppressed. Like a lot of people here have
well, I
been
mean,
silver spoon fed.
the thing is like in European nations, Western Europe, even in Mexico, like because I just got back from Mexico a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
saw it.
everything's
How was
fine.
it?
Like it was cool. It was nice. It was hot as
Solid.
fuck, but it was cool. But
Hey, all right.
no, I mean like the thing is like in a lot of places it is just like America. Like women aren't oppressed everywhere but America. You know what I mean? Like, but like for example in the Emirates, I don't know how the fuck people go to Dubai knowing that like this type of oppression happens towards women here, but let me go travel here and post it on my Instagram and then go talk about wokeism and shit. Like what the fuck? Like
Yeah,
you're
I'm not
counterproductive.
for it. I'm not
You're
for
literally
it.
you're being counterproductive to your own like
Well,
thing that you're
I
trying
think
to.
people want to do so. People consider woke politics bad. I think it's good because it reminds us of something that how much what people will do to fit in. Popularity contests have been like I know politics became pop culture a long time ago,
Yeah.
and it's horrible. But to roll back real quick, I went through Spain and Morocco. Between Spain and Morocco, past Italy, and we had salesmen come on from Spain, and I purchased my wife her
Mhm.
first pearls from
Mhm.
Spain,
Damn.
from that area there when they came and sold it on my ship. So I was like, oh wow,
Mhm.
how many motherfuckers you know can say they have
Yeah.
pearls from
Yeah.
Spain?
Yeah.
Like so I
Right.
got pearls from Spain. Italy, we went past Greece, Lebanon, in between Israel and Jordan. Prime Minister came on there.
Mhm.
Went down past Egypt. Holy shit. Does it suck to have Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt right there, right next to you? I
Mhm.
was like, my asshole was in like up back into my stomach. I was terrified because it was like
Well,
25 feet this way, aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah.
Huge ass,
Yeah.
25 feet this way, 25 feet this way. And we have a master helmsman
Well,
driving up there.
like
It was terrifying, dude.
Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, they're kind of like more progressive countries now, man. They're not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. They're not like,
I didn't mean they were bad
yeah,
countries.
yeah. It's
I
not
meant
like
just
Syria
as
or
far
nothing,
as
you
that
know?
how thick that area of travel is.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not a big
yeah,
one.
yeah. No, no, it's
And then
not.
we
They're
went
literally
past
right by each other,
Yemen.
yeah.
We went past Yemen.
So
Oh my
Yemen is
god.
scarier than any of those countries, bro. Syria,
Yes,
Yemen, like.
brother. So we went past Yemen and holy shit, and Somalia,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of different unnamed and to remain unnamed strike groups out there doing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
counter pirating ops
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, our ship, that one of the ships that was traveling with us from a different country, unnamed as well, shot down a bunch of fucking pirates on the
Yeah.
way. We passed Oman, went to UAE, we hit up Bahrain, went to
Mhm.
Dubai. In between our operations is right next to Iraq, and like I've
Mhm.
seen land of
Yeah,
Iraq,
yeah.
like and having the bombs dropped and doing unreps in the area. We were in a very dangerous area, and obviously we got bases in Qatar, we got bases in fucking Bahrain. We got
Mhm.
that's where the fifth fleet is. So
Yeah.
when I used to tell people, when Drake said it's hot up in the sixth,
Mhm.
I made a bunch of T-shirts for a bunch of guys I deploy with called hot up in the fifth,
No,
and
yeah.
because it's in the fifth fleet, it's 160 degrees off the water.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
160 degrees of the, that is
Oh,
the
that's bad,
that
bro.
is Satan's toilet bowl. I'll tell you
Yeah.
this right now. It is
Jesus, I
absolutely,
can't imagine that, bro. And
bro.
plus you're in your gear and
I
shit.
walk out. No,
Fuck.
thankfully I was in Navy, so I didn't have to do
Oh,
that
okay,
gear
okay.
unless some bad shit was happening. But
Mhm.
I was doing firefighter operations in 160 degrees.
Fuck that,
I was
bro.
doing boat operations in 160 degrees. I was doing unrep in 160 degrees. I was bringing on bombs. I took my knee injury in 160 degrees. My joints felt great until 500-pound bombs in a crate smashed into the inside of your knee when you're trying to push somebody out of
Jesus
the way for doing
fucking
some
Christ,
stupid shit
bro.
on a unrep station
Yeah,
between
yeah.
you're in between two ships, transferring bombs across a metal wire back and
Yeah,
forth
yeah.
and lowering it, and this is what I was, and
Yeah, fuck
thank
that,
God,
bro.
thank
Mhm.
God my wife never had to smell me that whole time. But if I could ever make a commercial for Right Guard Extreme, I would say Right Guard Extreme, the only thing that stops my pits from smelling.
God,
Holy
God
shit!
damn.
Thank God for Right Guard Extreme
I don't
because,
think even the right guard extreme would would help you out
dude,
in that
I was
situation,
sweating
bro.
so much. You
Mhm.
walk out of your berthing where you sleep with 90 other guys in this nice
Yeah.
air conditioning area. Look at your arm, count to 10. I did it. So I looked at my arm and counted 10. By second 8.5, your arms are covered in sweat.
Yeah.
You pee like once or twice a day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Jesus.
disgusting.
Fucking hell, bro.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
hell.
imagine that shit, bro. Fuck that.
But I never took a bullet to my face,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I never got shot at.
Mhm.
Just me and them.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
never.
yeah.
I never been in a gunfight in the Navy. Thank God.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that it's as far as my perspective goes. I don't have a fucking perspective. I'm
Mhm.
appreciative of not dying.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but that was just one thing. Like
Mhm.
me traveling through there, having to deal with Israel and these prime ministers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this political game of yes, I have if the prime minister of Israel came on it. I've always had a great relationship with the United States. I'm sitting there like it's 2015. Eddie
Yeah, yeah,
Sailor
yeah.
Eddie is sitting there like, bro, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Let us
yeah.
go.
Yeah,
This bitch.
yeah, yeah.
Can we go back to Spain?
Right, right.
I
Or
want to
the
go back to
furrows and
Spain. I want to go
and
back to
beaches and shit.
oh, just take me somewhere else. But
Yeah, fuck that, bro. I can't imagine that
political
shit.
nonsense. Political nonsense. It was a big, and but the reason we deploy a lot of times is called projection of power. So
Mhm.
POP, and POP is something that the cops do. POP is something that guys do when they're pissed off in front of other guys who they might even be scared of. They flex little peacock feathers and say, "Hey, look at me, I'm dangerous." Projection of power is another reason why we have these great blue and red lights above these police cars and the
Mhm.
loud sirens. That tells you, hey, the loud ass sirens in Las Vegas, they're brighter than any light out there.
Mhm.
To remind you of, hey, this is the justice system still here. This thin
Yeah.
blue line is still here. We're still stopping criminals. I don't think they have that thin blue line thing in what the country you're talking about. So that's super tough, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know how it's like right now over there. I'm assuming it's a little bit more westernized, but
Okay,
yeah, back then.
but earlier it was not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely not, bro. Fuck. That's why, like, when people come here a lot, they have trouble, like, I don't know that's the word I'm looking for. Kind of like getting used to like the culture here, you know what I mean? It's very difficult for a lot of people from Eastern Europe to come here and just like
Mhm. And
live a whole different type
that's
of
actually my
lifestyle, you
next
know?
topic, man. So
Yeah.
what diff how what are some of the difficulties that you faced integrating with our society here?
You know, again though, it was more my parents I think that dealt with the bullshit because I came here at a young age, man. I'm pretty much like, my whole life I pretty much
Americanized.
lived here. Had I came here when I was like 15, like in high school,
So
might have been a
so
different
you consider
story.
yourself an American.
Oh, I'm a citizen, bro. I am an
I'm
American.
happy. I'm happy,
Yeah, I am an
man.
American. Yeah, man. I mean, the thing is like, yeah, bro. When I moved here, I was like 4 years old. I barely know like any memory. Like I barely have any memories of like Ukraine and shit. So I don't know. Like it wasn't too hard for me. You know what I mean? Luckily, but I mean, I do definitely know people. Like for example, my cousin who just moved here. He um he moved here when, yeah, literally last year, bro, 2021, and he's like in high school. He goes to Meadowdale. He's, you know what I mean? I mean, he luckily in his ESL class, there's like some kids who are like Russian, speak Russian and shit like that. But I mean, I don't know. But even today, nowadays, man, it's so much easier, man. You have internet, you have your games. You can just hop online, play games, do whatever, and like kind of be to yourself, even if you're bored. You know what I mean? Like he's a big gamer, so like I don't think for him it's like too difficult, you know. But when you don't have games, you don't have shit, and you need other people for entertainment, like
Mhm.
it's harder, you know.
I see.
You
I
gotta kind
see.
of like get friendly with people. You can't just sit in your room and play games.
Have you ever been like? I know that when I heard you were Armenian, I never called you a Russian.
Yeah.
What would people refer to you as you growing up? They call you a Russian or confuse the cultures? Because I know
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single culture is so different. Like,
Sometimes I just say like, I mean, I tell people I'm Armenian, but sometimes when I don't want to explain it, I'll just be like, oh, I'm Russian. You know what I mean? Because
mhm.
Yuri's like a Russian name at the end of the day too. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know
People.
that there's a video game when I was a kid and I was super stupid. I
Hmm.
played like GTA and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
my friends would always say horrible shit like, "Oh man, are you gonna go save your cousin?" and try to like
yeah.
mimic the accent and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it really bothered me. And it still does how
How they portray.
people portray Russians and people belittle
Well,
that these there's a lot of great people that came from Russia.
yeah. Well, I
But you're
mean,
not from Russia, but I think
from like the
great people
Soviet
from
Union.
Armenia as well.
I feel like the thing is it all just stems back from like the Cold War and shit. Like whenever like
Oh,
Hollywood
okay.
movies were made, like the Russians were like the bad guys, like
Yeah, I
the
watched that
Russian
Captain
spies, like
America.
you
Like,
know what I
holy
mean? And so
fuck!
it's like,
Like,
I mean, I'm not
Jesus.
mad. Like when I see shit like that, like it doesn't really bother me because like I know where I am. You know what I mean? In America, like it's just like a very Hollywood thing to do. Like you know what I mean? Like the big
Propaganda.
like spy, the Russian bad guy. Like it's not even propaganda. It's just entertainment. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So and I think that kind of trickled down to like even today's generation with like video games. Like why was GTA 4 so popular? They have an Eastern European, you know what I mean, dude running around doing all these heists and shit. Like it's just what sells, man. You know what I mean? That's
I'll
what.
tell you what. As soon as
Yeah.
they allowed him to be able to like sidestep to the right, so I
Oh
can
yeah.
clear a room better, I was definitely happy compared to previous GTA's because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we've
yeah.
been missing that. We can't just walk into a fatal
Right,
funnel and get shot up.
right, right.
It's fucking idiots, right?
But
So
yeah, man.
wow,
But yeah, I don't know. Like that type of stuff never really bothered me, man. I don't let little shit like that bother me.
that's
If
cool.
somebody like came up to me and started like disrespecting me as a person, that's a different story. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But if I hear people like mimicking Russian hats or whatever, bro, go
So what
fuck.
other cultural differences did you perceive as you grew? If
Well, I
you're
mean,
talking
as
about
I
like
grew,
teenage years, there are obviously stereotypes. You're an
yeah.
Eastern European person,
I mean,
and you might speak something similar to what they perceive as Russian.
well, I mean, the thing is, like, I speak Russian too. I can read and write in Russian too. You know
Okay.
what I mean? But Armenian is like a completely different language.
Yeah.
I can like barely speak Armenian actually, because when we grew up, like even all over the Soviet Union, Russian is what everyone was taught. Like even my parents speak Russian amongst each other. They don't speak Armenian, even though they're Armenian.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because Russian was like the default language.
It's
Like,
like the default dialect.
yeah, and
Okay.
like in the Soviet Union, like if you wanted to work anywhere, if you wanted to make good money, you had to know Russian. Like, there's no way. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, when I was growing up here, man, the only thing that kind of was a little bit difficult is like there was things that like that like my American friends would just do that like for example my Armenian parents would like kind of not let me do like for I don't know just little things, you know what I mean? Like growing up being raised within Armenian like culture opposed to like how my American friends were being raised. That's like like it was just little things like that that you know what I mean? That were different. For example, like I'd see my friends always like going to sleepovers with their friends. Like my parents never let me go to sleepovers. You know what I mean? Little shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
So
But
nothing crazy.
nothing super crazy. Nah, it wasn't like
Good.
anything
I'm
too
happy,
bad.
man.
You know, what I mean, but you know what though? Luckily, I just grew up around like a lot of good people. Like you know what I mean? Like I went to school with like good like. I mean, I'm a very like I'm like an extrovert, man. Like I can go anywhere and like make friends. You know what I mean? I have that type of
You're a
I have
absolute social butterfly,
yeah, I
man.
have like that personality, so I think that definitely helped me too. You know what I mean? Because I definitely hear about stories about people coming and like having a hard time,
Mhm.
integrating and doing this and that. But I feel like my personality is just like as a person kind of helped me out in that regard.
I'll
Despite
never forget
any
where
cultural
when
differences.
we left school to go see like I signed myself out of school
Oh,
and
to go to see Waka
to go
Flocka.
see Waka Flocka and
Oh my god.
my uncle was actually hosting him and
Yeah, I
was a
remember you
really
telling
nice
me. Yeah,
man. Yeah.
I remember that day because like I was like hella broke and I was like, bro, like I'll drive. She's like, yo, if you drive us, like I'll pay for your thing. I was like, all right, yep. And then like
Yeah.
I remember we just saw all my like
Well, it was
mob.
just a walkthrough. Like Waka Flocka showed up. Like
But you know what's
now I see him
crazy?
on TV and I'm like, dude, this
But
guy is
you know what's
what is
crazy though? We actually were like the first ones to pull up there, bro. Like, do you remember? We
it?
were like the first ones in line, and
The
then like,
first one's in line, and
yeah,
my uncle saw me, and he was like, What's up, man? And
Yeah, I
I
remember
made
that.
sure to get a picture with him too. And I
Yeah.
got the shirt signed and
Yeah, I still have my hat. The one that he signed somewhere chilling in
solid,
my
dude. I
closet.
remember who the kid and it was Trapaholics 2.0, and I listened to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it was
yeah.
Trapaholics,
Bro, I still have that
real
CD
trap
somewhere. I
shit.
still have that CD somewhere,
You know
dude.
what? I'll tell you what. Why don't we go 50-50 on the Honda Ridgeline and play
Oh
this
my
shit
god.
again?
Bro, the new
'Cause
hundred.
I didn't have no wheels,
Yeah,
and all I
yeah,
knew is
yeah,
you had wheels, and you were like, okay, we'll figure this out. Like you didn't have the money at the time. I was like, fuck it, I got a job.
yeah, yeah. Bro, who was the one that found out about that? I think we were sitting like at lunch, and like,
Me.
so you were on
It
there.
was me,
How did
dude.
how did you like know about that? Like, how did you?
My
You were
uncle
like
was
online
hosting
or some
him.
shit.
My dad was so my
Oh
dad
yeah,
told me, he was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, yeah, Walker Flocks coming in and blah blah blah. And so I was like, I just got curious at lunch. I saw you, and I'm like, if there's anybody who's inspired enough, who's
Would be
cultured,
down.
who's musically enthusiastic,
I didn't. You know what's funny?
anyone who's a real educated man, it would be Yuri.
You know
Why
what
not
though?
bring in a Waka Flocka?
You know what's hella crazy? I didn't even listen to Waka Flocka back then. I
Me
knew like
either.
one
Fuck
song.
it.
I just like I didn't even fuck, bro. I was just down to go. You know what I mean? Because one, I just
Yeah.
wanted to skip school. Two, I was like, whatever, fuck it. You
I
know?
don't think we skipped school. We prioritized
We
properly.
prioritize.
We
Yeah, that's
definitely
true. That's true.
prioritized. I mean,
Fourth period and
one
fifth period,
time we
sixth period.
definitely
Like,
did skip school, and we went and confronted a whole football team, and
yeah,
I got suspended for it. I never snitched. Miranda was pressing my ass. And I was like,
for
listen,
real.
yeah. I was like, Mr. Miranda, I know that you might have camera footage of me and certain individuals, who I will not name. I'll go to my grave. And he was like, Eddie, I honestly respect you more for it, man. Said, I'm not gonna sit here. He said, but he named everybody who was there. And I'm like, I'm still not gonna. I don't know
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I don't know them. And said, Eddie, we saw you on video with these people. And I'm like,
yeah,
I do not know these.
yeah,
Who
yeah,
you speak?
yeah,
I do not
yeah.
know. I confronted, and then we confronted a whole football team about
Yeah,
beating
yeah,
up
yeah.
Finest's fucking little
Yeah, fuck.
cousin or some shit. And then he didn't even fight him.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, yeah. We got suspended
God.
for nothing.
We got suspended for nothing. Dude, like how many cars we rolled? Like at least 8 or 9.
Something like that, bro.
We grabbed everybody we could, and we went and we stuck up for somebody random whose little brother was beat up.
I think everyone else was just like trying to skip school too, and just wanted a reason to fight someone. So like everyone just
Yes.
went. Half the people there didn't even like know finance like that. They were
They
just
didn't
like,
even know
whatever,
him.
fuck it.
And you know what? Now that I do know him, like I wouldn't have pulled up for him because he wasn't gonna do shit
You
anyways.
know, I saw him not that long ago. Actually, he works at a what's it called? He works at like a restaurant in Seattle in like Belltown. I was there with like some of my former coworkers, and it was like late at night, bro. And like we pulled up, and he randomly like spotted me. He's like, "Yuri, what's up, man?" I was like, "Who the fuck is this dark ass African dude?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like took me a minute to like, you know what I mean, recognize him. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn."
shit got weird from like I know we pulled up or whatever, and like I guess like when I was like I went over to the military, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess he decided he was gonna confess his undying love for my wife,
Oh, what the fuck?
and say that
You guys were
they
like
couldn't be
together at
friends
the
or
time, though.
whatever.
That's
Yeah, I know. And
that's
he
weird.
called me his brother and all these weird things. So
Yeah.
shit got really weird. I don't wish ill on anybody. I just
Yeah.
I always advise if you're something's not right, you should be honest with who you are, and if you're feeling for somebody, creating distance is good.
I
But
mean,
like
things.
that destroyed like her, Brienne, and him were good friends, like almost
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
brothers.
yeah,
They
yeah.
spent like he didn't have the best situation at home, and they were friends and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
he threw all that away. He could have just kept his mouth shut and just hung out with us or whatever. And Rihanna didn't view him that way, or like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like I was her little sailor who was deploying for
yeah,
the
yeah,
United
yeah,
States of America. Like,
yeah,
why would you do something like that? But
yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
felt a little bit of betrayal. I don't wish him ill, but I did feel a little bit of betrayal, and I can always tell people, no matter what problems we have together,
yeah.
we can always have a peaceful divorce, and
Did
that's okay.
he, did he, when he did that shit, did he like
My
tell
wife got him
Rhiannon?
that job.
Did he tell Rhiannon that, or did he tell you that? Who
He
did he?
told Rihanna he wouldn't say a word to me.
Oh, he didn't say a word to you.
The last message I think I sent to him was like, "Hey man, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
But like like just be honest with people, right? Why wouldn't you?
I
I
mean,
don't
something
know,
like that,
man.
bro. Something like that. I feel like you should, like, if you want to keep that friendship, just keep that shit to yourself, and like,
Yeah,
don't, you
keep
know
that
what I
shit to
mean?
yourself, bro.
But also at the same
But he's
time, he
like, "Oh,
probably,
I just love you way too much to be just your friend." I'm like,
yeah. I mean, maybe
what did
he's
you
probably,
expect her to
he,
leave me? Like, I'm
yeah,
not trying to say that like he was jealous or put out some bad vibes or whatever,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like just
I mean,
like fuck,
the thing is
dude.
though, like he probably had those type of feelings for like a long time already for Rhiannon, and then
Yeah.
to see her like go with someone else, it probably just like broke his heart. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, but like he called me his brother. Like
yeah,
shit got weird. Like I don't
at
know,
that point,
man.
just disassociate with the people
At that
altogether. You
point,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
And like when I first I was like pissed off because I was like,
Mhm.
dude, why would you call me your brother and then like confess your love? Like I know he didn't like try to get with her or anything, but he confessed
Yeah,
your love.
yeah, yeah.
He was like staying at because his family situation was all screwed up, and
Yeah.
I don't like I'm not gonna air
Yeah,
out his
yeah,
family
yeah.
business, but he was going through some shit, right? And he needed a place to stay. He stayed at my family's house, and it was tough. It was tough to see Rhiannon go through losing a friend um because
Well, you know, bro,
he just ducked out,
well,
man.
you know what?
I don't wish him.
You know what
She
though?
got him that job.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy that
yeah.
he has income.
You know
You
what I
know,
will say this
yeah,
though, maybe it's a good thing to not have a friendship like that if that's
yeah,
how the person kind of feel. You know what I mean?
yes,
Because like the thing is, like,
yes.
she
That's a
shouldn't be sad
maturity
that she like
speaking. Yeah.
lost a friend. It's kind of like maybe it's a good thing to just distance yourself.
It's
You know, and the thing is,
and it
like,
hurts at first, but overall, it's good
yeah,
to have those set boundaries. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's true. And then the thing is, like, I mean, yeah, me and Finance are cool, but like, I don't know him like that. I don't want to like speak ill about him. You know what I mean?
yeah. Me, I don't. I
He's
want.
always just he's always shown me love. I don't know. I don't want to like talk shit about him.
I mean,
But
I pulled up. We you like I was gonna walk to the school and fight the whole football team if needed to help this
yeah,
guy to back this dude up. Like, and you said, hey, fuck that, we'll drive in. And then eight
mm,
people were like, yeah, we're all driving. And then next thing you know, we had 8 cars full of people pulling up
yeah,
on Meadowdale High School. And so that type of care, type of love, going out of your way to harm other people.
yeah, yeah.
Like we didn't. At the end of the day, did you know any of those other football players?
Nah, I didn't know
I didn't know any of them.
anybody.
I know there was a big dude who was I guess like a badass fighter. I didn't want to end up having to fight, but I also knew I didn't want to go to jail because I was 18. I didn't give a fuck. I rode for somebody who my wife cared
Yeah,
about
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. So it is what it is, man. I don't wish ill on anybody. And that I guess that's some more culture shit. Like in this day and age of society,
Mhm.
as Americans, we hold things so close to us. Like, oh, well, I'm never talking to you again. I don't wish him ill.
Yeah.
I just create. I try to mature better and create distance.
Well, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, if you ever hear this, man, do better. That's all I can say. All I can really say is
I'm
do
gonna.
better. Be honest with yourself, and I'm happy that he has employment, and I'm not gonna wish any ill will on
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
I feel if anything, it's pity, man.
Yeah, it makes me all old
Do you
shit.
have you had to deal with that? Because obviously we've grown up a lot since we were bumping
I
Waka
mean,
Flocka
sure, yeah.
and hanging out with your fet in our
Oh
car. And
my god.
have you dealt with losing friends over the years?
Well, yeah, of course, man. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've kind of like cut off and like distanced myself from just because
Hmm.
like I kind of saw that like okay, like they're not really going anywhere,
Hmm.
and like the saying is true, bro. Like you are who you kick it with. You know what I mean? If you're surrounded by people who aren't like motivated in life, who aren't, you know what I mean, trying to better themselves and are just stuck in the same bullshit, it's like how what are they gonna provide to you? Like you guys have to feed off each other. So like, what are they gonna provide to you? Not that saying I'm looking for someone to feed off of them, but you know what I mean. If I'm the one that's like kind of like, you know, doing things and you're just stuck. It's like, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, I just don't like being around people who are lazy, I guess.
Who are
You know
I
what I
call it
mean?
stuck in the loop,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
and
know?
it sucks to realize that I've had like a majority of my friends over the course of the years who were stuck in the loop. And like especially when I came back from the military, I was doing things occupationally that a lot of people would never envision themselves doing in their lives,
Hmm.
and contributing to things. Like I still get nightmares about the videos I've seen of the bombs that I brought on. Like
Yeah.
personally, I was like slapping the bombs, like, "Hey, look what we
Hmm.
got, guys!" And a couple days later, I was learning what these bombs did. Like
Yeah.
I've been privy to bombs blowing up children who are playing soccer.
Yeah.
I've watched their bodies blow into a bunch of pieces in a
Yeah.
fiery explosion, and it's
Yeah.
tough, man. But at the end of the day, I'm thankful for what I've done. But I definitely strained relationships and grown.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about being able to just be an honest motherfucker
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
having great
That takes
relationships.
you
Like,
a long way, bro. Like, as long as you're just honest and true to yourself and true to
yeah,
others,
man.
that's it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. The thing is, like, the way I look at life too is like, you can't just think you're gonna slip through the cracks all the time and like everyone else is stupid, no one notices like shit that you do. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm,
always have to be a caring person, bro. If you're like freeloading off someone or if you're doing this and that, like that person notices everything. Don't think
mm,
that just because they don't say something to you that they don't notice like the shit they like the sneaky shit you're doing to them. You get what I'm saying? So
100%,
you know what I
man.
mean? So I don't know.
And I'm glad that our relationship has withstood the
Test
sands
of
of
time.
time,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever however they call it,
Well,
man.
yeah, of course, man. You
I
know.
wouldn't trade our relationship for anything in the world
Mhm.
because
No,
I know that
likewise.
if you ever called me, like I would do whatever I needed to do to be there to help
No,
you out.
likewise, man.
And
Likewise.
you have
You know what I
so
mean?
many times, dude. Holy shit! I wish you'd call me more,
No,
so
it's
I
all
feel like
good,
there's an
man.
equal balance. But
No, no, it's all good,
like,
man. It's
oh,
all good.
help me!
You're fine. You're
But
fine.
the things you've done for me in my life could never be repaid, man. I really do
No,
appreciate
it's
you.
all good. That's what friends are for, bro. You know what I mean? You're supposed to do that type of shit.
Yeah. So as you grew, a lot of things changed.
Hmm.
Now you're studying law.
Yep.
What did that have a serious impact? Sorry, did that have a serious push behind from your family saying, "Hey, you should go do this law school"? Because I know, and
Oh,
I don't want to be stereotypical here,
no,
but
no,
from
no.
every single one of my friends who are from an Asian descent,
Yeah, yeah.
usually
Oh,
they get
doctors. yeah,
encouraged to be
yeah,
doctors or aspire to be great things.
yeah, yeah,
What so, and that's the best way I should say it.
yeah, yeah,
Actually, they are all told to aspire to be great things.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did your parents want you to aspire to be great things, or
Well,
were
yeah,
they
of
just say,
course.
"Hey, you want to work at McDonald's? I still love that."
No, hell no. If I told my
Okay.
parents I wanted to work at McDonald's, Dad would slap the shit out of me, bro. Like they didn't fucking escape war-torn Soviet nations for me to fucking flip McChickens, bro.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Goddamn make chickens.
the thing is though, it's like, yeah, they wanted me to aspire to great things, but a lot of it is me too. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do this personally too.
You always
At
been
the
super not bombastic. Like people say Donald Trump is bombastic. I would call you horribly charismatic. You have
I guess, yeah.
this stature about yourself that tells everybody around you, "Hey, I'm Yuri and I'm doing great things. Get out of my way."
Well, the thing is, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it's like with me, I just want to do something that's gonna, I don't know, one, be impactful to me and my family and to other people. Like, I mean, yeah, if you really love flipping burgers and do, okay, whatever. If that's what you love doing, go do your thing. But the thing is, for me, I want to be able to like help people. I want to be able to kind of say like, oh, this is what I do for a living and say it with pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to say that that's not a prideful thing to do, but like at least for me, that's not what I wanted to do.
It's
You know what
not.
I mean? To some
It
people,
doesn't fit your
yeah, to some
description.
people that's okay and that's fine. You know what I mean? If you're okay with that, it's your life. People do what you want to do. But the thing is, my parents in a way also influenced me to think the way that I think. They're the ones that kind of raised me to think that okay, I am a person that's should be doing more with you know what I mean with my life than like an average person. At least that's what they've always kind of raised me, to think. So me myself, I also kind of just took advantage of the fact that I grew up in a good house. You know what I mean? Had the opportunity to go to school, had you know what I mean, parents supporting me while I went to school. Because a lot of people don't have that. You know what I mean? That's why I can't just sit here and say, "Oh, everyone should be doing good things." Some people don't have that choice. Some people have kids at an early age. Some people, I don't know, fuck around in high school, end up going to
Yeah,
prison or
I've
something.
sold drugs. I
You know
sold
what I
drugs
mean?
occupationally, man,
Yeah, you
and
know what I mean. Like
I'm not something
sometimes,
I'm proud of, but
yeah. I mean, some people don't have two parents that are helping them get through shit. Some people have
mhm.
torn family households. Like they don't have an option but work full time. And then when you're working full time, how are you going to school full time? You know what I mean? I get people's situations are different, but like the thing is with me, I have all like luckily I was blessed with like so many of the components to be successful. So if I don't be successful, what the fuck is my excuse? I'm just lazy at that point. You know
Hell
what I mean?
yeah,
So
man.
you
Hell
know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's the way I kind of look at it. I was like, you're given everything to be successful. Why don't you just go do it?
Yeah, I would
You know
look
what
at
I mean?
you and say after you say something like that, man, it's hard to sit in the same room as you when you say things like that because that's like an honest to God reminder of how pathetically entitled so many people in this country are.
Well, yeah, yeah,
Like I try to remind myself of it often. Like I know check your privilege was like a thing that people said on Facebook a while ago, but I check my I look at my situation, I check my
hmm
surroundings, and I
yeah,
say,
yeah,
holy shit, you know what? I got fuck, dude. I got two floors.
hmm
I got a couple doors.
yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
a roof over my head. I
Yeah,
got a
you're good. You
wife
got
who
a
loves me, a
job.
dog, got a
Yeah.
job. Fuck, I'm appreciative. So
No,
many
yeah,
people are like,
definitely.
"Oh God, I hate my situation of living with this
Yeah, yeah,
person."
yeah.
I'm never gonna ever complain again after hearing about the Soviet Union and their control. You're never gonna hear me complaining
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the light bill. I'm paying the light bill. I love paying the light bill, man.
yeah. Be
Fuck,
lucky, be happy you even have a bill to pay, bro.
I'm
Sometimes,
thankful. Fuck,
Nah, but yeah, man. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
I don't know.
turn these damn lights on.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like I'm saying though, it's like there's a lot of people who are given shit like that and still don't do shit, and it's like I don't know. I just think it's like almost a waste of like an upbringing. Like if people were raised with like good, you know what I mean, good parents, good this and that, and then they don't do anything or just end up in jail or end up just becoming like addicts or something. It's like you kind of wasted like your parents' effort. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
that's a part of me just doesn't want that to go wasted, if that makes sense. At
I
least for
really
me.
like that.
Yeah.
That's good
You know
perspective.
what I mean? But at the same time, I want to do something because I want to personally do it for myself too. You know what I mean? It's not all about my parents either, but
Aspire
it's a
to be
big
great.
chunk. It's a big chunk of it too.
So, what have you
So.
been doing towards to further your education?
Oh, so when I went to Western, I graduated with a political science degree, and I started applying to a bunch of law schools. But man, So like I have like a really it's not like anything crazy, but like I do have like a criminal history. You know what I mean? My GPA wasn't that good, and I fucked around a little too much. So like I didn't get into like any nice school or nothing. But
Yeah,
eventually
shit
I did.
happens.
Eventually I did get into a law school though. You know what I mean? So I mean it doesn't matter, bro. As long as I finish, take the bar. Like no one's gonna look at the fucking degree. You know what I mean? Especially because I
Yeah,
want to open up my own law
and
firm.
it's this is a piece of
So
paper as well.
that's what I'm saying. You know what
I
I
can
mean?
direct
So
people to your law firm. I would love to.
yeah, yeah, right.
I'd love to direct use Eddie for 1% off.
Right, right, right. Use promo code
Code
Lowry.
word help me, Yuri.
Use
Yeah,
promo code Eddie for ten
promo code
percent off.
Eddie for 10% off. We can figure something out, man.
Yeah,
And I would love to promote your future,
yeah, yeah.
man.
No, definitely,
And
man.
if I'm at a point like in my life where I can invest in your law firm as well, I'd love to
Yeah,
because I
I
really
mean,
believe in you.
yeah. No,
So
I appreciate that. But I mean, like after I got done with at Western, I worked at a personal injury law firm in Seattle
mhm.
for like a little bit, but then like because of COVID and shit, I ended up getting laid off. And I mean, I went back to my old job at Red Lobster just to work like on the weekends,
Yeah,
because I mean, one school kind of is like a fat chunk of like my week, dude. Like from literally Monday through Thursday, like basically like today, I woke up at 8 a.m. I just finished, bro, at fucking five
yeah.
o'clock. You know
And
what I
that
mean?
after you're going to do homework too.
Like I lit yeah,
And
and it's
I'm already yawning, and
and
you're
if
going to do homework after this.
yeah, no, I have to. Yeah, what fucking sucks too is my school's in Louisiana. They're 2 hours ahead of me. So like when I schedule for classes, my 10 a.m. class is 8 a.m. My like last semester, no, my first semester, I had an 8:30 a.m. class. It was 6:30 a.m. for me. So like, I got to be up like super. It just fucking sucked, man. But I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, like I wanted to. My even the law firm, like when COVID kind of started easing down a little bit, they were like hitting me up. They're like basically seeing if I wanted to come back and be a legal assistant, but I just like 9 to 5. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't do it with school.
The 9 to 5 itself
Yeah.
is unethical.
The thing is, like, there's people that do it because a lot of law schools, even mine too, they offer like 4 year part time evening programs. So if like people who want to work full time and then go to school in the evening, you could do it, but it just takes an extra year. So it's like I'd rather finish in 3 years than 4 years. And
Okay.
you know what I mean?
So you have a 3 year plan right now to pass the bar
No,
exam.
no,
I'm
no.
guessing.
I'm already in my third year, so I'm
Okay.
gonna be done in May.
And then you're gonna take your law.
I'm gonna take the Washington State bar exam in July, and
I
then I can
cannot wait to fucking
I
hire
can
you,
restart
man.
practicing. Shit,
I've
hopefully you
been
never need me,
practicing
bro.
my
Knock
phone
on
call.
wood.
Hey, man, I need your help.
I'm gonna be a personal injury attorney though, so if you
Okay.
slip and fall in Safeway, that's when you'd call me.
Well, shit.
Not if you shoot someone.
Safe way it is. You got it, man.
Not
No,
if you shoot someone.
I do there's a couple places I recommend for shooter insurance, and USCCA is one of them.
Yeah.
And then there's Active Self Protection has their own one that they recommend on their show and their podcast and all these
Hmm.
things. I don't personally like to use um, anything that I don't trust, and I would never recommend anything to anybody that I haven't personally used or personally trust. And
Yeah.
so I'll usually have a friend that I trust, like I trust you.
Hmm.
I can call you and be like, hey, bro, what do you use for this? And I can trust your judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm never ever going to promote something that I don't trust.
Yeah.
I've stuck by that with my sponsorship. I've turned down thousands of dollars sponsorship when I was doing fitness,
Yeah.
bodybuilding, and things like that. And um, I don't have a single regret. It's
Yeah.
important to stick by what you believe in.
Yeah.
So I would definitely give you a shout out. I can't
No, I
wait for you to
appreciate
can't wait
that.
to be a lawyer. Are you hurt? Come see Yuri.
Yeah. No, I'm no, I want to do personal injury and then maybe some criminal law too. But honestly, I
Yeah.
don't know yet, man. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait and
Cool.
see.
Cool shit, man.
I'm gonna
Well,
wait and
I look
see.
forward
Yeah.
to hopefully not hiring you, but hopefully spending people to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, what are there any other differences that you recognize as far as your culture goes between American society and your personal upbringing from your parents?
I mean, man, there's so many, but like, it's just so hard. Because the thing is, like, our culture, the way my parents like just go about everyday life is just so much different than like how most
Would they
Americans
ever
do.
get a divorce?
The thing is, divorces are very like like frowned upon, like in our culture.
Mhm.
Like the divorce, like in America, man, it's so like you
Okay.
see single mothers or
Yeah.
people with stepdads and shit all the fucking time. Like in Armenian culture, it's very very rare. I think I know like one Armenian girl that like has a like her parents are split up. Like
Okay.
literally like all like it's very rare to see because the thing is, back in that type of culture like, they look because a lot of divorces happen a lot of them do, because women wanna leave the man. A lot of times the man kinda wants you know what I mean? At least for the most part. Like, I read some study, it was, like,
And
almost
that's your experience as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
No
like
one can judge you based off of your
yeah,
experience
but, like,
ever.
in Soviet culture and Armenian culture, if, a divorce ever happens, which is also a fucked up thing too, they automatically look and say, "Oh, there must have been something wrong with the woman. Maybe the woman did something that fucked up." It's, like,
Okay.
negative against the women.
I see.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
So would
for
there ever be like is it okay to cheat for the man?
no, 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 no. That's also not good. So the thing is,
Okay.
like, if obviously, like if a man was caught cheating or someone was caught cheating, then yeah, a divorce would be justified in that sense, and it does happen. You know what I mean? But what sucks about in like Armenian and like the thing is the fact that there's a high divorce rate in America is not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a bad thing for certain ways you look at it, but also women in our culture put up with a lot more bullshit than women do here.
I see.
Here, like over there, sometimes even if their man cheats, they don't divorce him. Sometimes they stay with him because they don't want to look bad and say, "Oh." And also over there, women aren't as independent as here. You know what
Ladies,
I mean?
ladies, know your worth. Know your worth. If that guy and the guys
Yeah, just leave his
used
ass
to
if he's
leave
cheating.
their
Don't put up with
motherfucking
it.
ass, don't put up with it. If he kisses somebody else that's not you, drunk or not, yeah, time to
If he
roll.
holds the door open
Time
for
to
another
roll.
female,
No,
leave.
whoa,
I'm
whoa,
playing.
whoa, whoa. I hold it over
I'm
for
playing. I'm
every
playing. I'm
person.
playing.
Okay.
I'm playing. Nah, but over there too, it's like women don't like a lot of women don't work. A lot of women are stay at home moms.
Yeah.
So like if they leave the husband, where the fuck are they gonna go? You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like here, women are doctors,
So it's
dentists.
it's culturally encouraged to be a stay-at-home mom. It's supported.
Sometimes women have no choice because again, a lot of the women over there don't really like a lot of. It's very common for women to just be stay at home moms.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So even if they were to leave, like where the fuck would they go? And also,
Damn.
it's shunned on them. Like they automatically look at, oh, the woman did something wrong. Maybe that's why there was a divorce. Like they don't say, like that's where it starts out from. People automatically think that's something that it's the woman that did it. You know?
I see.
Yeah. So
Damn.
it's not a good look over there.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say they're oppressed over here, and what I love about you on social media is you're you're very very
I
vocal
try to
about
stay. I try to stay off social media nowadays,
about
though,
giving.
man.
I
Fuck,
know, man,
it's a little
but
too
you
much.
give people great perspective because you at the same time you know people who have experienced true oppression, true poverty, true disrespect from the government, true
Hmm.
government completely being a tyrannical fuck, pretty
Yeah.
much. And now you also been in this country where you see people say, "Hey, yeah, let's read about the Constitution today," and then the next day they forget about the Constitution, they forget about the national anthem, they forget about what wars we as a society had leading up to our independence from the Queen, from Great Britain in itself, from
Hmm.
England,
Yeah.
and why we revolted originally. Do you see us headed in a direction where we become? Obviously, I see this. We all know that. Like you said on social media,
Hmm.
we're coming weak as fuck as men.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about the men and the women in this country right now, and how they are developing socially and economically?
um, I mean, honestly, there's pros and cons, obviously, to everything. I think the fact that there's becoming a better balance between men and women is a good thing. You know what I mean? The fact that
Yeah,
there's an uprising and like women being independent and not having to rely on men is a good thing. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
like tomorrow I'm gonna have a daughter. You know what I mean? I want her to be good whether she's married or not. You know what I mean? I don't want her to stay with a husband because she thinks that, oh, if I leave him, then I have to worry about this and that. You know what I mean?
I
I want
tell
her to
Rhiannon
have
all the
her own thing
time,
too.
"Hey, if I'm a bad guy ever, I want you to let me know and stand up for yourself and leave me.
Hmm.
If you ever think I'm not doing a good job of
Yeah, yeah,
honoring
yeah,
you as my woman, you should." And I tell her, "You don't need to work for shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But if you want to be your own boss, be it. If
yeah,
you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
do this, do it.
Definitely,
Because
definitely.
that's what I tell my sister too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, socially and economically, like I said, it's a good thing. I think that there's, how do I say it? Like that. Obviously, it's a good thing that that women are more independent. Like, I don't think it's a good thing in my culture how women are, staying with more women that they just are dealing with. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you're not fucking with this dude, it's better to be happy than you know what I mean. Think about how the social, like, how the social repercussions are of leaving him.
100%.
So I don't know.
And as far as social repercussions, what about the repercussions of sitting in the current situation and not doing anything?
That sucks too.
Stagnancy,
Yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
in the same spot, it's
But
pathetic.
then having your kids see that and then thinking that's normal and then growing up
Yeah,
and becoming that,
it's
like, you
not
know what I mean?
okay. You have to stick up for
Yeah,
yourself. You have to
definitely
find your
not.
happiness. And there's so many dicks and vaginas out there to make you happy.
That too.
Like why would you settle for
Yeah,
someone that doesn't make you happy?
yeah.
There's plenty
That
of
too, that too.
and if you just don't want to be in a relationship at all, there's plenty
Yeah,
of that out there too.
yeah.
Figure it out what works for
Definitely, no,
you.
definitely. I don't know. I think the way our country's going, in a way, is a good thing. I mean, obviously, there are some things though where like, okay, women need men for certain shit, and men need women for certain shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there were,
I can't pop out of bed,
yeah.
dude. I've tried,
So
bro.
there will always be like certain things that the two genders, how do I say it, rely on each other for.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I also think that it's a good thing that people are just being more independent in general. So
100%.
that's the way I look at it, man. I think there's got to be just like that perfect little balance. And I think honestly, America is in a better direction towards that balance than a lot of other places are or were. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I guess so.
I've from every
That's my perspective
anybody
on
who's
that.
not from America who's
Yeah,
explained that to me is pretty much said the same thing as you,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
it's tough to see. It's tough for me to understand the ideology behind women staying at home, not doing anything to be able to protect themselves, being okay with being victims, because the men that are rapists and that are pedophiles, the horrible people out there in the world,
yeah,
they're not stopping anytime soon.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But another thing too, like in the Soviet Union, for example, when they were sitting at home and shit, men were able to work, and one income was enough for like the family a lot of
Yeah,
times. You know what I mean? So like, it wasn't like here where like your rent is fucking 2,000 something for a one bedroom, and like you both have to go work to make ends meet. Like over there, usually like because everything was provided for too, men were able to just work and then provide for the family if they were smart enough to make good money. And that's why it was so normal for women to be at home. Here in America, you kind of have to like go work. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's just weird, man.
But
It's
it's
just
better to work and have more discretion of your own income than to not work and be a fucking bum, but be,
and or to rely on
you know what
somebody
I
and be
mean?
at
Yeah, yeah.
subject to their
I'd rather
mercy.
work and have money than not work and have to depend on someone for money. Even though I get that money from that person, I would rather work and have the same amount of money because at least it's your fucking money. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Hell yeah,
You
man.
know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah, man. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you realize that, or do you like to share about your culture? Like, what are big things for people from Armenia?
From Armenia?
Yes.
I mean, damn,
I
where do I
remember
even
one. I
start?
remember one time you told me that your dad was having a big party. We're gonna have like so much fish. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, well the party, bro. The way the parties are just super different too, man. Like the food, the culture, everything is just completely different. I mean, like in a way, it's similar because like we drink a shit ton too, just like Americans. We eat a lot of red meat, and you know what I mean. I don't know. Our food is like a little. It's a lot different though. You'd have to try it to like kind of get what I'm talking about. There's nothing really out here. What's crazy is like there's not really like an Armenian restaurant out here or anywhere like near here
I know.
that's
I'm
close to it
upset.
for me to like kind of describe to you how the food is. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's kind of like this because it's not kind of like anything. Like it has to like it's like its own thing.
Okay.
I don't even know how to like describe
Well,
it
I'm
to
gonna.
you.
You know what? I'm gonna have to
I'll
Google
have
it
to
and
bring you a
try.
plate one of these days.
Okay, listen. You
Yeah.
give me a call. I'll give you the gas money. I know
Oh,
that's a
gas
big.
money. We're right here, bro. The gas money's
I know.
70
I
cents.
will jog to you to get a plate
Maybe
of
not with these
Armenian
gas
food.
prices though. It might be a dollar.
I'll help. I'll help.
But
You know what? I can even help your family with the dishes. I'll help wash the
that's
dishes
all
and
good,
shit to get a
man.
plate, whatever it must be.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Well, I do appreciate you stopping by and
No,
expressing
thank you so much for having me, man. It was
and
a pleasure for real.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's always great to meet up with you.
Yeah.
One,
No, likewise.
two to see you continue to do great things in your life is always
Thank you,
inspirational,
man. I appreciate that.
and
Really.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
You one time you were a G with a degree, and now
I'm gonna be a G with 2 degrees.
G with 2 degrees,
I'm playing.
bitch. All right, so
I'm playing.
well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you so much, man. And this has been the first episode of Culture. As always, check the description, and I will post links in it all so you can get a hold of Yuriy to talk with them if you'd like to, or you can reach out to me and on the Facebook page. We can have a nice little chat like we always do. All right, much love, y'all. Take it easy. We spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about mental health, but I want to talk about physical health for a second. There's nothing more uplifting and confidence boosting than looking in the mirror and seeing exactly what you want looking back at you. The person I trust to make sure that's happening, no matter if I'm going through an injury or not, is Brian Click. He's my friend, mentor, coach, and now one of our sponsors here at Off the Deep End. Head over to the link in the description and check out why I choose him. All over his Instagram and his website, you will be seeing the different clients who've worked with him in the past, whether it's bodybuilding or just maintaining a healthy lifestyle or working towards a certain goal in a sport and making sure you make weight. Brian is a guy I trust for every single different category and facet that fitness surrounds. There's nothing more important than liking what you see in the mirror and liking how you feel when you wake up every day. So head over to his website and get this process started.